this point, I don't even remember why Dracula owes me money, but guy's gotta have a code, right? That's my favourite Moon Knight quote ever, even though it's not in this show. Stephen, listen to me. Give me the body. Let me handle it. The best way I can describe Moon Knight is The Mummy Returns meets One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest. Genuinely the best way to describe it. This show is equal points brilliant and baffling, both tonally and, plot-wise, but it's Moon Knight. Like, that sense of bafflement is something the character of Stephen Grant is feeling, and even Mark is feeling at points. The fact that the audience feel baffled is brilliant. Now, I can't personally speak for how accurate the representation of DID is. I've seen people praise it and have concerns about it and all that, so I'm just going off what I understand about it from an outsider's perspective, from what I've read, from what I've seen, from listening to people speak about it. I think this is a very nuanced performance compared to the typical Hollywood representation of multiple personality disorder, where it's basically just like they can turn it on and off. This show actually delves into the traumatic experiences that are the catalyst for this other identity coming through and saving the person from traumatic memories or traumatic experiences. And when this show is diving into that, when it's actually diving into Mark's history of being abused, losing his brother, and then being abused physically and emotionally by his mother, and his way of dealing with that abuse was, to become Stephen Grant, named after his favourite movie character, is really powerfully told. Obviously, the thing that really carries this show is Oscar Isaac's performance, or should I say performances. He is phenomenal in this, both as Mark and especially as Stephen, the British persona. The moments where it's actually dealing with his DID, him actually trying to work out, and when he's blacking out, when Stephen's blacking out, we're blacking out as well. That's brilliant. Where this show slightly lost me was weirdly the more conventional adventure and superhero stuff. Weirdly. Not that it's bad, it's not bad by any stretch of the imagination. It's just not quite as interesting, and as I say, feels a lot more like something out of the Brendan Fraser Mummy movies. And those are fun, don't get me wrong, those are fun, but it feels tonally very different. It almost feels like the show has two identities, the Egyptian adventure movie and superhero stuff, and the DID and the human psychology stuff. And you're never quite sure which one's real. The visual effects are phenomenal in this. You can never tell when it's a VFX suit and when it's a practical suit. I think also this was a super ambitious show. I know it's Disney money, but still super ambitious to do the hippo lady and all those sort of animal gods. Obviously Khonshu looks phenomenal and is weirdly charismatic. Like, I didn't expect to be charmed by a massive skeletal bird god, but here we are. This show definitely is awesome, but as I say, there were some episodes where I wasn't quite as engaged, and that's really the ones that are delving far more into the Egyptian adventure than the psychological stuff. I love the scenes where he's in the psychiatric ward, but you're not sure if that's real or not, so you're like, I'm exploring this character, I'm finding out more about this character, but is this all a trap? Because obviously with Ethan Hawke's character, you're not sure, is he the baddie, or is he the doctor? Is this all part of his coping mechanism? You're never quite sure. You're never quite sold. And that's brilliant. That's the best way to leave the audience, is slightly baffled, slightly confused. All the other performances around Oscar Isaac are brilliant, but he is really what makes it. Having to balance all these characters. I say all these characters because, you've seen great stuff. Their personality. At what point is he going to get his money back from Dracula? That's what I want to know. Is he ever going to have a run-in with... Or even, oh god, I regret saying this, is he going to have a run-in with Morbius at this point? It's Morbin time. I really enjoyed this show. I recommend this show. I think it's brilliant, at least from an outsider's point of view of the DID stuff. I think it's handled incredibly well. And Oscar Isaac is really what makes it just really top-notch. The adventure stuff, your mileage might vary. For me, slightly weaker, but definitely needed. I don't understand what else you would do with the plot if it wasn't that, so, I don't hate it. I just wish they'd get back to more Stephen Grant's shenanigans.